An NBA insider has dropped a bombshell Giannis Antetokounmpo report as it pertains to his future in Milwaukee, and this report changes everything for the Milwaukee Bucks. We're going to break down exactly what that is and discuss what it means going forward, as well as break down multiple updates ahead of a crucial Game 3 against the Indiana Pacers in a game that is not only crucial for the series, but it's crucial for the future, the entire future of this Milwaukee Bucks organization. But before we get into it, folks, if you're part of the percentage who aren't subscribed to the channel, this is the place to be for daily Bucks content. We're less than 50 subs away, around 20 subs away from 3,000. If you want to help us towards that goal, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you guys again for your daily support here. Ladies and gentlemen, a brutal game yesterday against the Indiana Pacers, and we all know how bad it was. But there are some interesting reports that have dropped that alter the landscape of this team. And let's start with this here. And you can see this from Legion Hoops. We also have one from Chris Haynes, a very notable reporter. And so it begins. Brooklyn will pursue Giannis aggressively this summer. And this, of course, stems from a few different reports, and there's a bunch of different things. But it starts with Chris B. Haynes' report saying Chris Haynes doesn't believe that Giannis will finish Giannis' career in Milwaukee. So this is a big report. And, of course, a couple other ones to go through here. But I want to start with this one. Chris Haynes basically came out and said he's very confident that Giannis, assuming they lose in the first round, will not be finishing, or even if they lose in the general, will not be finishing his career in Milwaukee. Now, again, we've heard this for years and years and years. Everything from Giannis' side, it's always said he wants to stay in Milwaukee. He wants to finish his career in Milwaukee. And ultimately do think he probably will finish his career, at least signs up until this series where he finished his career in Milwaukee. But there comes a point where you've lost so many years in a row now. And of course, you won the championship back in 2021, but it's been 4 years now, brutal play, specifically with Doc Rivers over the past, last year and this year. Like, fans are irate with Doc Rivers. He hasn't been able to, make the adjustments. He hasn't made any, good adjustments to the starting lineup, which we'll dive into a little bit later. Things are just at an all-time low as it pertains to the Milwaukee Bucks following going down 2-0. And then you see this report coming out that Giannis, he doesn't believe Giannis is going to finish. And then, in Milwaukee. And then you have this from Legion Hoops saying trade request rumors are about to explode. And then you have this saying that the Brooklyn Nets are expected to aggressively pursue Giannis Antetokounmpo. Now, we'll dive into this a little bit. It is interesting. And the Brooklyn Nets as an organization, they have a ton of picks, all these different things. I don't know if the Nets, if the Bucks do decide to shop Giannis Antetokounmpo for whatever reason, it would require an absolute haul. Way more than Luka Doncic got, because that was mispracticed by Nico Harrison. Way more than, Mikal Bridges, even though he got 5 first-round picks. Like, you would need every first-round pick. You would need stars, all these different things. And it is a little bit ridiculous. And I want to go ahead and say, I don't know if, Brooklyn even has enough for, Giannis, because maybe I don't even consider Cam Johnson isn't in the same universe as even a superstar. And I think if you're trading Giannis, you would want to get a superstar back. You would want to get somebody back who, is a really good player. No one's going to be the level of Giannis Antetokounmpo, especially in a trade, but someone who is fantastic. And then you can use that and 5 first-round picks and completely rebuild. But it's unfortunate we're even talking about this, given the fact that they're still in the middle of a playoff run. I'm only doing it because of how many reports have dropped. I don't think they're going to trade Giannis. I don't think it's going to happen. However, there's a world where Giannis, forces his way out. He's not that type of player. We've seen it for years before he signed a Supermax extension. But if you look, Giannis in his last 6 healthy playoff games, 34 points, 17 rebounds, and he finished 0-6 in those games. He has not won in 6 playoff games. You can see this here from Kevin O'Connor. Absolutely brutal coaching and front office malpractice in Milwaukee. And I want you guys to let me know down below, do you think it is coaching malpractice? How bad do you think the front office is to blame for this particular issue? All these different things, because Giannis is one of the best players in the world, up there with Jokic. And you're out. You could argue Giannis is the best player in the world, and you go out there and you're saying all these different things, about how you're gonna make your team better if you're John Horst. All these things. You go to the trade deadline, get rid of Chris Middleton. You get Kyle Kuzma. Ultimately, the Drew Holiday trade was what broke the camel's back, right? It was the last straw that broke the camel's back. But, trade rumors are just going to be swirling. And this is an unfortunate situation they're in now, because no matter how the series finishes, unless they come back and win the championship, there's going to be Giannis trade rumors. And God forbid they lose in the first round. Yeah, Doc Rivers will probably get fired. All these different things. But what matters most is that Giannis is going to be in heavy trade talks for the entire season, off season. And we're used to that. Bucks fans are used to that. As Bucks fans, we're used to kind of just Bucks fans are used to this particularly. And as Bucks fans, we're used to dealing with all these Giannis trade rumors, all these different things. But at the same time, it is at a point now where not only are Bucks fans going to be like, it sucks having to deal with it, but he's under contract. But at the same time, you have to understand that it actually makes some sense because of how bad the Milwaukee Bucks have been. and how not even just bad as it pertains to, they're making the playoffs, all these different things. Their direction is winning, and they haven't even came remotely close in the sense of, especially over the past few seasons. Giannis last year, this year again, like he's putting the team on his back, and he's unable to even remotely be helped. Of course, Dame helped a little bit yesterday, but again, he had a pretty bad game, and it is unfortunate. And for the Brooklyn Nets, you need picks on picks on picks on picks on picks. But for Chris B. Haynes to come out and say this, you look at his last 6 playoff games, 0-6 record, 34-17, absolute ridiculous, malpractice by the front office. They haven't surrounded him with the right players. They haven't surrounded him with the right coaching staff. And speaking of coaching staff, you have Doc Rivers coming out and saying, I'm very confident in this series, and this is the same coach who every single game now is using, and I warned everybody in the video yesterday that Doc Rivers will probably stick with the same lineup. It is clear they need AJ Green, Gary Trent Jr., all those guys in the lineup, and they decided to rerun with Taurean Prince, Kyle Kuzma, all these different guys who are in the starting lineup getting a ton of minutes. We think back to a play where they're running a 3-point play that ultimately ended up in Kyle Kuzma's hands when they needed a 3, even though you have one of the best, if not the best shooter in the league right now besides Steph Curry in AJ Green. It was a disaster class, and Doc Rivers is getting out coached. I don't know really why they hired him in the first place. Like there is there's some stretches where he was good, but man, oh man. And Giannis spoke out on being down 0-2. He said, my mindset right now is game 3. I know the effing deal. I just know the deal. I know what I got to do, and he's done it every single game. He has been unbelievable, and that's the unfortunate part and why he doesn't want to. He has a family. He doesn't want to leave Milwaukee, but he might be forced to request a trade, and I don't blame him at this point with how bad this team has been lately. The coaching staff. Do they have the depth chart to beat the Pacers? Yes. I think they have the talent to beat the Pacers. Do they have the talent to win a championship? Maybe. Maybe. But I don't think, clearly they haven't done enough. And Giannis is going to get fed up at some point. It's going to get to a point where not only are they fed up, they are just sick and tired. And Giannis, that is, in his camp, are sick and tired of just the monotony and what's been happening. It has been a bad stretch of play. And to see the Brooklyn Nets up there, it makes a ton of sense. They have young players. They don't really have the star that I think the Bucks would want in return, but they have 5 first-round picks. You have a bunch of assets that you can get. And I don't even want to be talking about this during a playoff run, but you're kind of forced to when all these different reports keep on coming out. You see this here, I'm not going to lie, Giannis can't leave the East Bros Conference already beyond poverty. I'm hoping he doesn't. Everyone is talking about it. Tweets are blowing up. And I think at the end of the day, the focus is on game 3. They need to make the adjustment. Of course, this video is focused on the trade reports. We'll have another video focused on the updates and things like that they need to do. They need to lock in on defense. They need to stop their transition game. Most importantly, they need to help out Giannis Antetokounmpo on the offensive end. It is absolutely brutal. It is absolutely just poor. It has been terrible. And even Dame now, luckily in game 3, he'll have a game under his belt. I think he's going to be a lot better. Kuzma's been disastrous. AJ Green, to get him out there. Doc needs to make adjustments, and that's one thing he's failed to do when he's choked all those 2 or 3-1 series. Those 3, you know what I mean? He has failed to be clutch. He has failed to make adjustments. And in those 3-1 series where he lost, that is the reason. And in the 3-1 series, where they lost again, that was the reason. And now, of course, it's going to be a very interesting next few weeks. Ladies and gentlemen, that'll wrap it up. Let me know down below your thoughts. Thank you guys for watching. Cheers.